Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Ballabha Girivara Dadi Girivara Dadi Gopi Jana Ballabha Girivara Dadi Gopi Jana Ballabha Girivara Dadi Jasodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Follow. Jasodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Jamunatira Vanachadi. Come on. Jamunatira Vanachadi. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Come on. Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Ballabha Girivara Dadi 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 Jasodanandana Braja Janaranjana Jasodanandana Braja Janaranjana Jamunatira Vanachadi Natira Vanachadi Jamunatira Vanachadi Munatira Vanachadi Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jayom Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivitakacharya Astatara Satasi Sivad. His Divine Grace is Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki, Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki, Gaur Premanandi. Oh Krishna, oh Krishna. Oh Krishna. Before coming here, I spent about 45 minutes establishing what I'm doing right now in 5 minutes. And it was all nice, and then it disappeared. So I'm having to redo it again, for your pleasure. And I like, while I'm just pausing here, Mridanga player, I don't know your name, but there's a very simple lesson I learned once upon a time, learning Mridanga. You don't lead, you follow. The Mridanga player or musicians have a responsibility to tune into the vocalist and the mood and the pace and the rhythm and the this and the that, and it's following them, not the other way around. This is the second time where you got a pace, which is nice, but the pace should match the mood and the pace, and everything should match the singer. You don't do that. So you need some training how to do that. The previous kirtan, fantastic, because the mood and the pace and everything matched. Fantastic. But you're going to be in different, like here we are having, Japa with a lot of people, and you're going to have kirtan with a lot of people, and you can't just, they follow you because you're the mridanga player. That's not how it works. And that's why I kept staring at you, and I've never done this before. Right in the middle of the kirtan, pay attention. I've never done that before. Never done that before. But I did it this time. I think it'll be a lesson that'll stay with you. And so find somebody that knows how to play mridanga, where you're following the lead. You're not leading the follower, the singer. You get the idea. I hope you can take strong medicine. And if not, my apologies. Okay. So let's... Somehow, I don't remember how it happened. Do you remember how it happened? I was asked to speak on this topic. Maybe I selected the topic, but I was asked to speak on this topic as far as I can remember. What does it mean, taking shelter of the holy name? That's a nice topic. What does it mean? So we discussed it already, and here's what we discussed already. One of the things that we discussed already was the very first class, the Utsahandis Dhairyat verse from Nectar of Instruction, verse number 4, the first three. So the first of the first three is enthusiasm, and enthusiasm leads the other two. Or it commences. Without enthusiasm, nothing happens. So what is enthusiasm? So here's a nice definition of utsahan, or enthusiasm. Endeavor exercised with intelligence in Krishna consciousness is called utsaha, or enthusiasm. Nice definition. It's very simple. So then we spent a little bit of time on what is with intelligence, or intelligence in Krishna consciousness. What does that mean? Remember this? You saw this before. So Jiva Goswami, in his Bhakti Sandarbha 236, gives another very simple definition. What is intelligence in Krishna consciousness? Two methods of taking shelter of the Lord. They sound similar. One is positive, the other is negative, or without. Announcing one has no use of good intelligence. Anukulyasya sankalpa pratikulyasya varjanam. You know, that's Rupa Goswami's language. Accept things favorable, reject things unfavorable. So that which is favorable, Krishna. That which is unfavorable, Nyet in Russian. Nada in Sanskrit, nothing. Zip. You are my only shelter. I have no other shelter. Giving up false shelters. Giving up false shelters. That's intelligence. To give up false shelters is intelligence. We discussed this. For most of us, we're not there yet. Now maybe there's some exceptions in the room, but for most of us, we're not there yet. You know, we have given up some shelters, and we still are holding on to some other ones. And the ones that we're holding on to, they're very dear and near, and you know, they're attached to, not just take shelter of. They're important to us. Intelligence is, there is no other. Now, there is no other doesn't mean, for example, you don't eat or you don't maintain, you don't brush your teeth, you don't maintain yourself. You just exist because Krishna will maintain you in Haribol. You know, the Avaduta personality. We do things with a purpose, but the purpose is that Krishna should be pleased. That's it. And if it doesn't have that purpose, we do other things that's not specifically necessarily, you know, the mixed is, it's not specifically necessarily because it pleases Krishna I do X. But, you know, I'm uncomfortable if I don't do X. So I do, you know, some X. Not for the satisfaction of Krishna. When we recognize that there's no other shelter, that's intelligence. Simple. So endeavor with intelligence in Krishna consciousness. So this is the Utsaha principle. And with exclusive shelter. So what's that place that gives us real shelter? Now, part of my little autobiography, is he still here, this senior citizen gentleman? Once upon a time, I was a 6-year-old. And as a 6-year-old young boy growing up in America, in a Christian family, we went to Sunday school. And we went to Sunday school, we heard about the kingdom of heaven. So I was like, wow, what's it like in the kingdom of heaven? So I asked Mom and Dad. And they didn't know. But they didn't say we don't know. They just didn't know. It was clear they didn't know. And so I asked the priest. And the priest didn't give me an answer either, because he didn't know. He didn't say I don't know, but he didn't know. But you know, so same. What's that place? That's the place of shelter for us. You know, what is it? You can say what it isn't, but you can also say, what is it? And there's a very nice song, which we're going to sing, so it helps us take shelter of that which has a worthy place of taking shelter. That's this song, Kevalastakam. Kevalastakam, little history of Kevalastakam. The author is a photographed picture of him here, Nilakant Goswami. Nilakant Goswami is not one of our Sampradaya Acharyas. He was a contemporary of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And as you know, during the time of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Apasampradayas were abundant in Bengal. Like, too much. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur wrote a book on the 13 categories and their subdivisions of those categories of Apasampradayas They each have titles and the persons that espouse those things from previous generations. And it was a mess. And therefore, Bhaktisiddhanta, his son, was very careful about, his father dibble-dabbling in other writings besides our sampradaya, acharyas, because it's a big mess out there. But it's not like he didn't trust his father. He had implicit trust in his father. But one of the persons that his father wrote about is Nilakanta Goswami. In fact, Nilakanta Goswami was one of the participants in Vaishnava Vishva Raja Sabha, which is like the Hare Krishna movement during Bhaktivinoda Thakur's time. Sabha, like a group, an organization. Vaishnava, Vishva Vaishnava is missing a word, so you should say Raja Sabha. Raja Sabha. So, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, as a pioneer, had an interest in making it a sangha. He didn't call it the Gaudiya Vaishnavism. That's what Bhaktisiddhanta gave a title, and Prabhupada called it ISKCON. But, it's moving in the direction of focusing on the personality of Godhead. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur mentions his name, Nilakanta Goswami, as such a person. He was, you could say, a tacit or a silent member. He espoused what Bhaktivinoda Thakur was teaching. And there's his lifespan. So this person, Nilakanta Goswami, wrote these verses only according to the history of the biography of this Vaishnava. It was 100 verses. It was a Shataka, not a Dasaka or Ashtaka. So somehow, I don't know how that somehow happened, there's now Kevalastaka. And Kevala is a nice word. I mean, I'm not a Sanskritist, but it means like absolute, like Keval Advaita, absolute monism, Shankaracharya. Then there's Dvaitavad, and it's Kevala Dvaita, absolute dualism, Madhvacharya. So Kevala is a strong word. So Kevala Astakam, it's saying it's the exclusive shelter in the holy name. So that's the meaning and essence. And guess what? We're going to sing it together. And then guess what? I'm going to explain it in relation to the topic of what does it mean to take shelter. But, take shelter of what? The holy name. What's the holy name? Let's hear something, the ashtakas about the holy name. If you're ready, Shreyas, you're going to play Mridanga, please. And somebody that likes to play kartals can play kartals. We have a good kartal player. Here you go. You're musically fantastic. But Mridanga playing, you need a little training. Madaram Madarebhyopi Mangalebhyopi Avanam Pavanebhyo Sagaro Sapita Chapi Samata Mandavo Bisa Shiksayet Chit Sada Smartum Avirnam Eva Kevalam Amritam Ratna Adirnameva Kevalam
Diyatam Diyatam Kanu Niyatam Niyatam Vacha
Diyatam Diyatam Karno Diyatam Diyatam Vachaha
Giyatam Giyatam Nityam Harinameva Kevalam
Gitam Gitam Nityam Adirnameva Kevalam
Trinikritya Jagat Svarvam Rajate Sakalo Pari
Trinikrityam Jagat Sarvam Rajate Sakapari
Chidananda Mayam Sudam Harinameva Kevalam
Chidananda Mayam Shuddham Harinameva Kevalam
O Harinameva Kevalam
Harinameva Kevalam
Harinameva Kevalam
Harinameva Kevalam
O Harinama Kevalam
Harinameva Kevalam
Harinameva Kevalam
Harinameva Kevalam
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Oh Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Patita Pavana Gaura.
Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Gurudev. Nitai Gaura Haribol, 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 Haribol. Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki.
I'm going to slowly read the translation, then we will discuss. I'm going to run out of time. Again, this is 8 prayers out of 100. More sweet than all other sweet things. More auspicious than all other auspicious things. The greatest purifier of all purifying things. The holy name of Sri Hari alone is everything. The entire universe, from the exalted Brahma down to the lowly clump of grass, is a product of the illusory energy of the Supreme Lord. The only thing that is reality, again I say reality, the holy name of Sri Hari alone is everything. That person is a true preceptor, a true father, a true mother, a true friend also, only if they teach one to always remember the holy name of Sri Hari alone is everything. There is no certainty when the last breath will come and put an abrupt halt to all one's material plans. Therefore, it is wise to always practice chanting from very childhood. The holy name of Sri Hari alone is everything. Lord Hari eternally dwells in that place where truly exalted, spiritually advanced souls sing in the mood of pure devotion. The holy name of Sri Hari alone is everything. Oh, what a sorrow, what great sorrow, more painful than any other misery in the world. Mistaking it as a mere piece of glass, the people have forgotten this jewel. The holy name of Sri Hari alone is everything. It should be heard again and again with one's ears. It should be uttered over and over with one's voice. It should be perpetually sung anew and sung anew. The holy name of Sri Hari alone is everything. It makes the entire universe seem insignificant as a blade of grass. It splendorously reigns supreme over all. It is full of eternally conscious divine ecstasy. It is supremely pure. The holy name of Sri Hari alone is everything. So that's a little discussion on what does it mean to take shelter of the holy name. It's according to Jiva Goswami, two things. This is my only shelter, and any other shelter is a false shelter, and I've set it to the side. Now, that's Jiva Goswami's writing. The same understanding is there in the writings of predecessor acharyas that teach the same thing. It's a double-edged sword. It cuts this way and it cuts that way. You are my only shelter. I have no other shelters. It's saying the same thing forwards and backwards. I have no other shelters. You're my only shelter. And when that only shelter is described in these ways, it's very clear. It's a place of shelter. And because it's so inviting, it encourages us to go there. So let's go through some of the exaltations or glorifications. The first line is well known, celebrated, Madhura Madhurebhyo pi Mangalebhyo pi Mangalam. Madhu means sweet, like honeybee is a madhu curry. A bee gathers honey, little here, little there, little there, little there. The order of sannyas, where one accepts something, but doesn't make a burden on anyone, just little something, madhukari. It's a practice of a sannyasi that goes from door to door and accepts little, madhukari, like the bee. But when at the end of the workday for the bee, he's making honey, gathering the pollen to make, however they do it, make honey. Madhu. And amongst all sweet things, this is the most sweet, more sweet than honey, sweeter than honey, the sweetest of all sweet things. Mangala. And our ISKCON temples all over the world we have a number of artis, because where there's deities, there's arti. And then the first one is the Mangala arti. The Mangala arti is during the Mangala hours, the early morning hours, when it's ideal to perform any spiritual activity during the early morning hours. And the early morning hours for some people is like, you people are crazy. You gave me one already. Let me give you one. Here, wait a minute, let me give you one. Get up at 3:30 to stand in line. It depends on the size of the temple. Stand in line to take your shower, because it may take half an hour just to stand in line to get your turn to take a shower, and then run downstairs for Mangalarti. Boy, just as I'm speaking it, I'm remembering those days when standing in line to take a shower at 3, so we'd get up at 3 o'clock, and then everyone would get up at 3 o'clock, so it had to get up at 2:30 to get up, and then stand in line to take a shower, and then literally run down. So the deity curtain is closed, and the devotees are assembled already, chanting their japa. And then, the Mangalarti and the curtains wiggle, and boom, and Mangalarti. Mangala. That's auspicious. Greet the deities. Somebody was describing their recently being in Vrindavan and standing before the Krishna Balaram deities in Vrindavan for Mangalarti, and the curtain wiggles. Boom. Then there's Krishna Balaram. It's an impression that stays with you for your life. And then you want to be there, right in front if you can, as much as you can, and be there for Mangalarti, because it's Mangala. But amongst all auspicious things, Mangalarti included, most auspicious is the chanting of the holy name. Pavanam, the greatest purifier of all purifying things. So we can make a nice list of purifying things. The sacred rivers in India, and etc., 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 etc. But the essence and the most purifying of all those purifying things is the holy name. Thus, Harir Nam Eva Kevalam. So I'm not going to go through all of these slowly like this. I'll just do a few, and then we'll see if there's some discussion. If anybody has a phone, does anybody here not have a phone? Anyone that has a phone that the ringer's on, before you get embarrassed like that, I better check my phone. Put it in vibrate. Okay. The entire universe, from exalted Brahma down to the lowly clump of grass, is a product of the illusory energy. So that's like, this is on the negative side. What the holy name is not. The holy name is not material. Rather, satyam, puna satyam. It's reality, distinguished from illusion. There's the illusion, and then there's the reality. And that reality, supreme reality, again I say reality, the holy name of Sri Hari alone is everything. Now what does that mean? The holy name alone is everything? Everything. Say it negatively. Is there something that doesn't come from the holy name? Is there something that doesn't come from Krishna? Prabhupada, there are two things. There's Krishna and there's Krishnas. There's not a third thing in the creation of God, because that would mean void. A third thing. Something without. So there's Krishna and there's Krishnas. So even the clump of grass, or Brahma, that's an energy of Krishna, the illusory energy, but the illusory energy comes from reality, principle. Illusory energy comes from the reality principle. There's the image and there's reflection of the image. And the reflection is not, there's no substance. Anyways, that's philosophy. But so all philosophy, everything you need to know is within the name. Just like this little passage that we read from Bhaktisiddhanta. Within the name, not from the name, then you can start to realize something that's over there. The name, form, quality. But it's name, form, quality, pastimes within the name. Don't look elsewhere. Can Krishna manifest himself elsewhere? No problem. But is Krishna fully present within his name? Yes. And because the name of the person are not different. Nama, binitvam, nama, namino. It's a nice philosophy, and it's a nice process to realize the philosophy. I'm going to go to the last one. I think I'm going to go to the last one. Mm-hmm. Trin means straw, or here it's being translated as a blade of grass. Trini kritya jagat sarvam. When Sanatana Goswami first came before Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he put a straw within his teeth as a gesture, a sign of submission. That's an interesting way to indicate your submission. You put a blade of grass or straw in your teeth, and then obeisances. So whatever comes out of my mouth is normally gobbledygook, but instead I'm just a blade of grass and I'm submitting to you. It makes the entire universe seem insignificant. Jagat sarvam. Rajate sakalopari. It reigns splendorously, supreme over all. Now this is an exalted Vaishnava, understanding. The holy name is not only for this age of Kali. In this age of Kali, it has special importance because other things don't have the same effect, because one isn't sufficiently qualified a priori. So therefore, it's supreme for this age of Kali. But any age, it reigns supreme. There's chanting of the holy name in any of the ages, any of the 4 ages, is my point. It's not like they didn't do Japa in Satyuga. But we don't have the eligibility to do the rest of the things that they did in Satyuga, so we have the eligibility to do this one. And this one has everything. Rajate sakalo pari chit anandamayam shuddham. It's full of eternally conscious divine ecstasy and supremely pure. Shuddham. Chidanandamayam shuddham. So just by singing this song and meditating on the meaning of the song, one becomes purified, because the holy name is everything, and these are just glories or mahima, features of that supremely glorious thing. It's like, what's it like in heaven? What do people do there? That was, we're supposed to want to go there. Young Christian boy, we're supposed to want to go to heaven. What's there? What do people do there? Now, the Vedas have that information, but the Vedas take one beyond that realm of Swarga, and then Tapaloka, Janaloka, Maharloka, Satyaloka, Brahmaloka, and Vaikuntha Loka, and Goloka. And we, so that's information, but beyond the information is that sound vibration that can carry you there. And the holy name can carry you there. It's so nice. And we're so unqualified. Please don't forget, we're so unqualified. Phew. But becoming qualified means of becoming qualified is this entry level. Please read Prabhupada's books, because everything is there. And there are those that don't read Prabhupada's books. Even today, Vaishnavas in our movement today, in certain parts of the world, that aren't reading Prabhupada's books, they have some other ideas about this and that and the other thing 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 and the other thing. And then there's the same thing, same as happened in Bhaktivinoda Thakur's time. They were followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They had faith in the holy name, and they went this way and that way and the other way and the other way with stuff that was like deviations from the Sampradaya, Apa Sampradaya. Prabhus, it's happening today. I just got a little like an earful today, and then a week ago another earful from another, and it's going on today. Please read Prabhupada's books in the association of devotees, and be clear what's what. When you get on the train, where's the train going? What's the destination? And what are the stops along the way? Because there's stops along the way, so you're headed in the right direction, because there's markers or indicators of the direction that you're headed in. Social, interpersonal, etc., etc., etc. Sorry for that little soundbite, but it's a reality that without knowing people that are speculator type people, without having the big picture of the Siddhanta that's summarized profusely or presented profusely in Prabhupada's writings, people don't read his books, and they're smarty pants, and they've got a different idea. And then they get somebody who thinks, oh, this guy's smart. And then they have this group. You know how it goes. Groupism. It's not always guru groupism, it's groupism with, blah, blah, blah-ism. Fourth time, it's going on. So, keep your seatbelt fastened. You can get rough air sometimes. And, be prepared. In these descriptions, that there are devotees that had intimate association with Prabhupada through different stages of the Hare Krishna movement. And he was training them, because they were youngsters in age, Western in their background, and not knowing much other than what they heard from Prabhupada. And from time to time, he would examine them. He'd have them speak in a forum. Somebody would ask a difficult question, or he would give an answer and say, listen carefully, because you're going to have to explain this after I'm gone. I'm going to the next place, and there's this issue, something, 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 and I want you to hear how I'm answering this question. And then he would ask them again the next day, just in private, how would you answer? So he was training his disciples how to get to the destination. And obstacles that you might meet along the way. People that say blah blah instead of go straight and narrow. It's Kali Yuga. It's a dark age. And we have light, and we should stay by it. And back to the holy name. The essence certainly is the holy name. And therefore, our Japa retreats are very important events. Kirtan melas are important events. And Japa retreats, where it's not, because musicality and the social interaction during kirtan can be the buzz. I've had exchanges with youth. Pardon me, youth in the room. But, you know, I have, you know, me to the youth in the room. I asked to speak to a youth group. So we're, you know, they start with kirtan because everyone likes kirtan. So, you know, question from me to the youth group. What is it about kirtan that, what's the buzz? And, you know, they look at each other and, you know, music is universal, you know, all that. It's true. Music is universal for any culture, any language, any people, anywhere. They have their style, the, you know, Latin style or the Chinese style or the Italian style or the, you know, something, orchestra, bebop, you know, style. So with music, it's like there's some vitality in it. And then there's the social interaction for people that have similar taste for that style. And then, you know, they gave those two things. Music and social. It's music and social. What about the holy name? You know, I'm sharing. Have you ever thought about Japa? One fellow, like, you know, pie in the face, answer, no. Have you ever even thought about it? No. Like, don't ask that again, please. Wow. Japa retreat? Get lost. For your information, I'm getting informal now, and I'll stop. This is Japa retreat number 4 for the month of December, for me, and 3 for Jamuna Jivana, 3 of those 4. And in each one of those, with the exception of Portland, there are 2 things. That there's deity worship. It's in a temple, so there's deity worship. But the deity worship is silent. And there's like you know, a decision was made to stop for the midday arti. In the other 3 places, there's no arti. There's no kirtan along with the arti. There's the pujaris, you know, holding the bell so that no one can hear it except, you know, Super Soul. And when it comes to blowing the conch, it just hit the end of the conch shell, so you can, you know, so that's, and then incense and the bell that's in his hand that no one can hear except Super Soul, and then everything else. No, and then second, there's guests that come, because the guests don't know we're having a Japa retreat. They're coming to see the deity. And so there's now a policy in place when those guests come on, because commonly the Japa, the 64-round day is on a Sunday. And lots of people like to come. Like lots of people like to come. In some places it's like a lot of people come to darshan of the deity and do what they do when they come to see the deity, without naming all the things they do. So there's now somebody that has the assignment of the receptionist for the guests. Maitre d', you know, that So for 4 hours, they're the guest receptionists. They can chant japa, that's fine. But they can interrupt their japa too, because they want the guests to be welcomed. So they look around and see what's going on. You know, they hear the buzz of everyone chanting japa. So the guest receptionist explains. And, you know, somebody that has good social skills and they have some extra beads and they show them the beads and ask them if they want to sit down and chant with the devotees, you know, chant with the sangha. Some people say no, and you know, whatever you know the receptionist says, that's their business, depending upon the people. But they do that for a certain interval of time, then somebody else does it, then somebody else does it. So there's not one person that's just, you know, not participating in the japa retreat. But when it's arti time, it's, you know, they close the curtain, but they don't, you know, anyway, without all the what they do and they don't. Japa retreat is japa retreat. Monavrata is monavrata, except for, you know, children and, you know, necessities. Then otherwise it's monavrata. For purpose. We don't normally do monavrata. But for japa retreat we do. Nor we don't ring the bell with, you know, only Super Soul can hear. But it's, yeah, so it's the respect for the holy name and the focus upon the holy name. Just to, you know, so next time you have one here, that I recommend something like that, is, you know, how you observe what our regular activities are. You know, the morning program, full morning program, Haribol. And then, you know, after Guru Puja, and then that's just a japa retreat schedule. Because the holy name alone is everything. And we want to focus on that full shelter at least for that particular period of time. And then once you do like that, here's what happens. Because the holy name is everything, it spills over into everything. When you have that focus, and you're doing your occupation, or you're cooking in the kitchen, or you're doing your activities, your various activities, that consciousness is with you. And do that for 55 years. Guess what? It's consciousness you carry with you. Okay. So, gosh, it's 8:15. I got carried away with all that stuff. So, anybody would like to raise a question or make a comment or... Okay. So I think we're done. There's a hand in the back. Oh, I couldn't see the hand in the back.
It's not a question, Gurudev. I just want to know where can I find this?
Where can you find what?
The prayer.
Which prayers?
The one that we sang.
This?
Yes.
How about I'll send it to Jai Satchinandana and he'll make sure that you get a copy.
Yeah.
Or, you know, somebody else want to do it that already has it. Arpana, do you already have it? She'll send it to however you send things around here.
Okay, sure. Thank you, Gurudev.
Okay. Yes, behind you. Raise your hand so she...
Who wants it?
Okay. Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you for the wonderful lecture. So you were mentioning about kirtan and the youth and how a lot of times it's true, like our focus is very much on the social and the musical aspect of it. So while we're doing kirtan, how do we make sure that we're not focusing on those
Easy. Who's at the center?
Krishna.
Yeah. And if Krishna's not at the center, guess what? I mean, I'm sorry to say, but it was really an insulting answer. It was like, you know, the Italian way is like that. It's an insult. It was never. Have you thought never? Japa, never. And don't press that button again. You know, it's not always that kind of an attitude, but there are persons that are leaders in the youth group, some places at least, that have that attitude. Not just like struggle with japa and that kind of thing. Others made some little testimony of having that struggle. It's okay. It's how do you tell? Your question is how do you tell the difference? Who is at the center? Who is to be pleased? Me or Krishna?
Krishna.
And generally speaking, there's a mix. Generally, and sometimes it's not. Sometimes. So let's do this. Think of a kirtan singer who you really like because of the bhakti that they carry. Not necessarily their voice is superlative. Some, there are, both. But they start to radiate, literally light and joy. And they're like a light bulb. They gets brighter and brighter and brighter as they go. And you can feel it. You can see it. Who's at the center? It's not the musicality or the social. Yeah.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Okay. Anukulyena Krishna Anushilanam. Krishna is to be pleased.
Hare Krishna. I'm the first time visitor here.
Really?
Yes.
First time?
This is the second day, third day, probably.
Okay. Well, I hope I didn't shock you with saying some strong things.
I would like to really understand how the intelligence of Krishna consciousness aligns with Shankara's Advaitam. There's only one thing, that's what Shankara says, and how they are related to each other.
They're related to each other in that the Vedas or Vedanta. Well, let's wait till they open the curtain. Shri Shri Nitai Sachinandana Ki Jai. The Vedas are at the center. You know historically. Buddha came along, rejected the Vedas. Shankara came along, accepted the Vedas. And then chronologically following Shankara were Sampradayas that were Vaishnava, and they also accepted the Vedas. So the alignment is with the Vedas. The distinction is, what do the Vedas say? Or what does Vedanta or Brahma Sutra, what does it say? And there's sharp distinction. There's amongst the four Sampradayas, the four Vaishnava Sampradayas, there are shades of emphasis. But the Bhagavan is at the center of all four. And for Shankara, Bhagavan is not at the center of Shankara's teaching. Without going into what his teachings are, Bhagavan is not at the center. The personal conception of the Supreme is not at the center. So there's a distinction. But acceptance of the authority of the Vedas. The Vedas reveal satyam, truth. And the purpose of human life, Vedanta Sutra, is to inquire into Brahman. So then what is that Brahman? There's differences. Okay? If as a visitor, if you want, depends on your acumen, your liking for detail. But detail is found, elaborate detail is found in Chaitanya Charitamrita, where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is visiting Benares. And he's invited by a school of followers of Shankaracharya to come in their midst because he's a sannyasi. And they want to hear from him what his teachings are. Anyway, and there's two passages, two sections where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu visits Jagannath Puri, and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is a super scholar in the line of Shankaracharya's teachings, and he wants to protect this 24-year-old sannyasi by teaching him Vedanta Sutra or Brahma Sutra. 7 days he's teaching Brahma Sutra. Along the line of Shankaracharya. And this young sannyasi, 24-year-old sannyasi, just sits and listens. And the eighth morning, super scholar Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya says to this 24-year-old sannyasi, "You don't say anything. I don't know if you're understanding or not understanding." The young sannyasi says, "I understand Brahma Sutra very well, but as you go on speaking, you're covering the meaning like anything." "Oh, really? Well, if you understand Vedanta Sutra or Brahma Sutra, then you explain it." Then he explains the Bhagavan conception. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya said, "I've never heard that before." Anyway, so there are sections. My message to you is, there are two primary sections where the question you're asking is addressed in detail. The similarity and the difference. There's some devotees in the audience that know this very well also. I mean, I'm a visitor and here today and gone tomorrow, who knows. But there are devotees that live here and they can go through this with you if that's something that you have an interest in. You know, we don't shy away from such discussions, respectful discussions. But then point you to where in the Chaitanya Charitamrita this dialogue goes on in detail, in amazing detail. So it's clear. A Vaishnava conception and an impersonal conception, how are they different? How do they compare? I see your hand. I'm going to look for some older generation people besides you. Anybody else? Okay, you're on. Give this young man the microphone. You don't need the microphone.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
I have a question. How do I reach Golkola by singing Ka Eva Lashtamakam?
What's he saying?
How do
By
I
Keva-
reach?
By Kevalastikam, how are you going to get to Goloka? That's what you want to know? Mm-hmm. Hare Nama.
Okay. Hare Krishna.
Okay. Srila Prabhupada ki, Gaur Premanandi.
So that's one Swami Maharaj ki.
Yeah.